Hello everyone, I'm Ewan from Ironcube. In this video, I'd like to introduce a few types of ratchet tools. The most common ones are these two right here. At a glance, one of them looks almost no different from an ordinary wrench. It has an open end on one side and an offset ring on the other. The only difference is that the offset ring side incorporates a ratchet mechanism. Does it sound good? If it sounds good, it's a good wrench. The one I have here is 17 mm, meaning it's used to turn nuts or bolt heads measuring 17 millimeters. So the open-end spacing, or the inner diameter of the offset ring, is actually just a bit larger than 17 millimeters. When we use a regular wrench to loosen screws, if the space you're working in doesn't allow for a full rotation, you have to constantly reposition the wrench. Very inconvenient. But if you use a ratchet wrench, you just need to move it back and forth to complete the removal. This is because when we turn the wrench counterclockwise, the internal teeth follow the wrench's movement and, in turn, drive the nut to rotate. When the wrench swings back, the internal teeth don't follow, so the nut stays in place. Repeating this process continuously turns the nut counterclockwise until it's fully removed. To tighten it again, just flip the wrench over and use it from the other side. It's very convenient to use. If the installation position of the nut doesn't allow this type of wrench to reach, then we need to use a socket. One end of the socket works the same way as the offset ring wrench's internal teeth. You select different socket sizes based on the size of the bolt head. The other end of the socket is square-shaped and needs to be inserted into a wrench. This end also comes in different sizes. The one I have here is a 1-2-inch drive set. Here is a ratchet wrench designed for use with sockets. When using it, you connect the socket to the wrench. You can see there's a steel ball on the wrench's square drive to latch onto the socket. During installation, you need to press the button on the front so the socket won't fall off. The same applies when removing it. Just press the button. To remove a screw, simply place the socket over the screw and move the wrench back and forth. Similar to the offset ring ratchet wrench, the socket ratchet wrench can only drive the socket in one direction. To change the direction in which the socket turns, just flip the small switch on the wrench to the other side and you can reinstall the screw. Now that we understand how they're used, let's examine their structural differences. First, let's look at the offset ring ratchet wrench. On the ratcheting end, there's a separate offset ring head with an internal circle of notches. It's held in place inside the wrench by a snap ring. Inside the wrench, there's a pawl, a gear-like component pushed by a spring. This pawl is the core of the one-way mechanism. The pawl's teeth mesh with the offset ring head's outer teeth. If you turn the offset ring head clockwise, the pawl is pushed aside and then pushed back by the spring, causing the teeth to click and produce that kaka sound. But if you turn the offset ring head counterclockwise, since the pawl doesn't have room to move, it can't rotate, thereby restricting the offset ring head's movement. Thus, when using the wrench, turning in one direction causes the pawl to engage and drive the offset ring head, while turning it the other way causes no movement in the ring. That's the simple principle behind the offset ring ratchet wrench. Next, let's look at the socket ratchet wrench. Inside, it also consists of a ratchet and pawls. Unlike the offset ring ratchet wrench, it has two pawls, each pressed by a spring. The switch on the front of the wrench adjusts the position of these two pawls. When you rotate the ratchet counterclockwise, the pawls are pushed aside and then sprung back, creating a clicking sound. When you rotate the ratchet clockwise, the ratchet is locked by the pawls and cannot move. Turning the switch on the wrench's front changes the pawl engagement, allowing the ratchet to turn counterclockwise but not clockwise, or vice versa. Additionally, the reason the wrench head can hold and release the socket is that when you press the button on the top, the steel ball can be pushed into the wrench head. Releasing the button lets the steel ball protrude again, latching into the socket's recess. This is the principle behind the socket ratchet wrench. In conclusion, the ratchet mechanism is a highly versatile structure. Its form can be adapted based on different usage scenarios and different product designs. I hope you'll discover more ratchet mechanisms in your daily life. That's all for this video. Behind every invention lies the designer's creativity and strategic thinking. I'm Ewan, thank you for watching, and see you next time.